An asteroid is heading towards Earth. A fireman named Wayne lights a house on fire to practice his drills. When he looks up, he sees a meteor heading his way and tries to save himself. A biology professor named Era Kane tells his class that most of his students got an A, except two of his students, Danny and Deke. A professor, Harry Block, gets a call that tells him he needs to go study a meteor that hit last night. He then goes to speak to a cute young student about her extra credit, but gets interrupted by Era, and they go for lunch. Era asks Harry where they are going. Harry says he's asked to check out the meteor that hit yesterday, as he's a member of the United States Geological Survey, so they're going to the meteor site. When they get there, Wayne tells the cops he needs to go for his fireman's exam and leaves. They go in a hole to have a closer look at the meteor. Era notices that something is already growing on the meteor, so they try to take a sample from the meteor, but some liquid oozes out from it. They get their sample. They take it back to their lab, and as Era's monitoring the sample through a microscope, he sees the cells multiplying at a high rate, and he is mind blown. He gets to know that the alien DNA has 10 base pairs, while our human ones are 4 base pairs. Era rushes to the volleyball game Harry is coaching, and informs him that they have discovered alien single-cellular life in that meteor. Harry checks Era's microscope, and he realizes they are multicellular. Era checks it again, and he tells Harry they were single-cellular when he checked last. So they realize that they're evolving and growing into more complex organisms. Era says it's millions years of evolution in just a few hours. Wayne fares really badly at his fireman's exam. Era and Harry take a few students to the meteor site and tell them to wear their gloves at all times. As they get to the meteor, they notice mushroom-like structures growing near it, with smoke near the ground. A student complains about a really bad odor. Era tests the air and notices that there's ammonia and methane, and says that it's converting the atmosphere around it. A student says she notices something wiggling around her feet. Era bends down, moves the smoke, and he notices millions of worms crawling all over. Era picks up a worm, and it dies. He says it probably died because it needed its atmosphere it created to live, and maybe the oxygen in the air killed it. Era tells Harry to take a little of the atmosphere it created to keep the worms alive and take them. As Harry and Era are observing the worms, they notice that they have started splitting and multiplying. As they take the vessel with the aliens away, Era tells Harry not to tell anyone about this secret. Harry asks if they should inform the government, and Era tells him that they shouldn't as it is their discovery, and they should maintain absolute control, do more research, check their findings, and document everything. Wayne's working as a pool manager at a hotel. He sees some dead alien worms out of a closed door. On opening the door, he sees worms coming out of a crack in the ground. He goes to investigate, and he sees an alien creature in the tank. Era tells Harry, as they are driving, that when he checked the samples in the morning, he found 3 different subspecies. He says they're evolving at an exponential rate, and who knows what they'll find when they get there. 2 helicopters fly over their jeep in the direction of the meteor site. The entire meteor site is being monitored by soldiers. Era and Harry try to get in, but the soldier at the entrance stops them, saying they're not on the list. Era asks if he can speak to his supervisor. The soldier checks, and they are let in. Era meets General Russell from the Army research team, who says Era used to work for him. Harry is shocked on knowing that Era worked in the research department of the Pentagon. Era then asks them how did they get to know about this and asks Russell if they tapped his phone. He says no, but they monitor his computer. Russell then introduces them to Allison Reed, a senior researcher, who scolds Era for his recklessness, and not realizing how dangerous the situation could get. Russell tells Era they've made one of the greatest discoveries, and they'll be kept in the loop of the findings done by the Army. Era says he can't be removed from his research, but Russell tells him it's protocol. A sergeant tells them that they have already secured the area and created an airlock around the meteor. Era tells Russell they can't be chopped off the research as they discovered it. Russell reminds Era about why he was thrown out of the research team at Pentagon. Russell makes Era leave, But he says it's not over yet. Era takes Russell to court. He tells the judge that he deserves to be on the research team. Allison questions Era about why he was discharged from the Army research after he developed an anthrax vaccine, which was given to 140,000 soldiers. She asks him about the symptoms. He goes on to say a list of symptoms like partial blindness, erectile dysfunction, and many more. The soldiers called it the Kane's madness. He walks out feeling defeated. As Era and Harry return to their lab, they see their doorknobs have been broken, and they realize Russell has broken into their lab, stolen all their research, the rock, the worms, DNA sequences, everything. Era rushes to his computer, and he finds that all his files are deleted. They're pissed. They try to infiltrate the base by disguising themselves as an officer and soldier. They see a person with a hazmat suit, holding a huge alien insect. They see Allison there. They wear the hazmat suits and get into the meteor site. But the government officials see them on the camera and ask each other who they are, as they don't have any officials scheduled to go there. But they say that they could be from another department, and they let them be. Harry and Era notice that the place has changed a lot. The aliens have created an ecosystem for themselves, teeming with alien plant and animal life, including flying insects and carnivorous plants. They see an insect that gets eaten by a tree. He tried to grab a specimen, but it's eaten by a large insect with a big butt. Harry asks Era who does it remind him of. Era asks him if he is talking about Allison. Era says Allison is cold and rude, but Harry tells him that all she needs is a good humping. Allison and some other officials hear all that they were talking about her and go there to stop them. Allison reminds Era that he is violating the judge's order, and she can have him arrested. As Era and Allison are arguing, an insect cuts into Harry's suit and crawls in. Harry feels something in his suit, and suddenly there's an insect that roams around his helmet. They try to kill it by releasing more oxygen in his suit, but the insect bites and gets into him. Harry is rushed to the hospital. The doctor says he has to get inside and remove it from his colon. As Harry screams, the doctor removes the insect. Wayne's manager is preparing for his date by the river, and suddenly a reptilian alien grabs his leg and pulls him in the water. As his date looks on, the lady rushes into the party, screaming about what happened. Allison asks Era why did he risk going into the meteor site. He says he was kept away from research for way too long and took up a job as a teacher. But as soon as he got to know about this, he thought that this is his ticket to get away from this life. Era thanks Allison for not calling the cops. Wayne goes to meet Harry and Era and shows them the body of the reptilian alien that attacked his boss. Era asks him how did the alien die. Wayne tells him that it died choking. A lady finds many worms in a house. She informs a lady that something is banging the closet. When she opens the closet, a dog-sized frog-like animal bites her, then chokes and dies. Era goes to warn Allison and tells her that they need to shut down the project. She says they can't. Era tells her to speak to Russell about it. She says she will, but she doesn't promise anything. Era asks Allison if she would ever be attracted to him. She blushes and says bye to Era. Harry and Wayne are eating at a diner and hear a police radio talk about an animal attack nearby. They go to check it out. It's the dog-looking alien. As they go behind the house, they find a valley filled with suffocating dinosaur-like creatures. Era says they crawled out and cannot breathe in our atmosphere, hence they're suffocating. Then suddenly one of the dinosaur gets up and starts choking, but then suddenly spits out a huge sack. A baby dinosaur breaks out of the sack, and Era notices that it can breathe in our atmosphere and flies away. The flying dinosaur flies into a mall and terrorizes the people there. The trio gets there and grabs some guns. The dinosaur flies away with a woman in its claws. The trio searches for the dinosaur, but can't find it. Wayne begins singing into a mic. The dinosaur responds to it, and it returns. Era shoots the dinosaur, and they save the girl. The media starts reporting about the dead aliens in the valley and the alien attacks. Governor Lewis visits the alien site demanding answers. and furious at not being informed earlier about the situation. Allison begins to explain that in 3 days they will be crawling around the entire canyon. In a week, the entire state of Arizona. And in a month, the entire southwest region. In 2 months, the entire United States will be theirs. Era and team get there. Russell suggests evacuating the area and a napalm strike to destroy the meteor's contents and the surrounding areas. Era suggests that's a bad idea. Governor Lewis is not in favor of Russell's suggestion. An official calls them immediately to show them primate-like alien creatures that have evolved at the meteor site, and it is suddenly destroying their cameras. The elevator starts moving, and they assume that the aliens are coming through the elevator. Russell calls for backup, and they aim at the elevator. But when the elevator gets there, it is empty. The lights go out, and suddenly the alien primates jump out and attack the base, wound several members, and even attack the governor. Era tries to save him, but the aliens attack Era. Era is saved by Harry. Then Harry gets hit by the aliens, and Wayne takes his gun and shoots the alien dead. The governor then approves Russell's napalm strike. Russell tells Era and Harry to get out of there. As they are leaving, Allison quits and asks them if she can join them. She got their initial samples and research, so they'll get credited for the discovery. Everyone is evacuating from the area as the army prepares to blow up the place. In Era's lab, he has the original liquid from the rock. Allison asks him, why hasn't this evolved into the species they have out there? He says, probably because it was refrigerated and kept in airtight locks. Harry smokes and a match falls into the alien liquid dish. It catches fire and immediately a huge fungus-like structure starts growing as it reacts to the heat. Era realizes that intense heat triggers the alien's DNA and that the initial impact to Earth activated its evolution. Harry says that the napalm strike will cause it to evolve more. Allison tries to warn Russell, but he ignores Allison's call. Era's students, Danny and Deke, join them in the lab. As Era and the crew are thinking about what can kill the aliens, he realizes it could be selenium. As he is looking at the periodic table on Allison's t-shirt, he realizes that selenium might be as toxic to the aliens that are nitrogen-based life forms, as arsenic is to Earth's carbon-based life. They will need 500 gallons of selenium. They wonder where they'll find that now. Danny and Deke suggest that they can take it from Head & Shoulders shampoo, whose main ingredient is selenium sulfide. The boys go to collect the shampoo and Wayne says he knows a vehicle that can help with the mission. Wayne procures a fire truck, and they fill it with the shampoo with help from Era's college students. Era and the team leave for the meteor site. The governor goes to the army base to watch the explosions as it happens. Era's team get into the meteor site and search for the aliens. The primate aliens are there. But suddenly they start hearing explosions nearby. Russell's napalm strike goes off ahead of schedule before the team can try their plan. The entire alien ecosystem reacts to the napalm and fuses together, and a fungus-like huge alien chases Era and his team out. There's an earthquake. The alien ecosystem fuses together into a single immense fungus-like blob that stands hundreds of feet tall. Era says that it reacted like how the aliens reacted in the dish when it came across the fire match. The giant alien begins splitting in the center, and Era says that it is getting ready to multiply, which it would do infinitely until the country was overtaken by thousands of these gigantic creatures. Wayne asks them if the selenium plan is still on. Era's team maneuvers their fire truck underneath the alien and search for a point to attack. They find a huge hole in the alien, and they conclude it's the rectum, and plan on aiming there. Harry says he wants to be the one to release the selenium into the alien. The ladder starts to go up from the fire truck. Harry releases the selenium into the alien from the hole, moments before the creature splits into two. The alien begins to oddly shake and almost swallows Harry, but Era pulls Harry back out. The alien bubbles up and gets huge. The officials and the army looking on are scared and run away. Era and his team get away from the alien just in time before it implodes. They celebrate. Era and Allison kiss. The governor has a press conference and declares Harry, Wayne, and Allison as heroes. Wayne is made a fully credentialed firefighter, and Era and Allison sneak away to have sex. Thank you guys for watching. I hope y'all liked the video. If you did, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe to watch many more such cool recaps. And hit the bell icon too. Bye.